And we're live. Welcome, everyone. It is Matt from the Matt Clausen YouTube channel and Stack Your Points here with RJ from Do You Take Cards. RJ, how are you tonight?
I genuinely was a little bit like, I don't know what we're going to talk about tonight. I had a couple ideas. I threw them in the mod chat in the Stack Your Points Discord. Hint, go join Stack Your Points Discord. We have a lot of fun conversations in there. So I was curious, but now we know what we're talking about tonight.
Oh, there's some content. And it's like my number one video in the last 10 videos I've produced because it's at like 250 views in 20 minutes, which has rarely ever happened for me. So that's awesome. So we do have the Stack Your Points saying good evening, everyone. We should be starting at 8:30. We have Shatton has joined us, says let's do this. Yes. And we got Mike Newland joining in. Good evening, everyone. Also, I'm doing sport mismatch today because I have my brand new Chicago Cubs hat, which is nice. One of two I bought. My Flex Fit hats were at a minimum, and the Oilers jersey just fits. So there we go.
So you don't support the Pope's team of the White Sox because we apparently now have an American Pope from Chicago who's a White Sox fan, while the rest of his family is Cubs fans.
Look, I'll say this. I'm not allowed to sleep anymore ever again. I took a nap after my flight back from O'Hare because I flew back from Chicago first thing this morning. And we have an American Pope. This CSR news, the Sapphire Reserve news that we're going to talk about, or Sapphire Reserve rumor. It is not news. It
It is
has
not
not
news.
confirmed, right? But the Sapphire Reserve rumor struck fire while I was sleeping, and one of the two political parties in the United States decided to become the tax the rich party, and it's not the one you think.
Yeah. Also, you
So,
were in Chicago and it's a Chicago-born Pope, so maybe after the next Pope dies, when Leo the 14th is no more in a decade or two, whatever city you happen to be in during conclave will have the next Pope. Maybe you have that power, Matt.
don't give me that power.
I w Can we get a Brooklyn Pope? I just want a Pope from Brooklyn who is talking about like traffic and parking. That would be very funny to me.
No, only if that parking is around the United Nations. There are big signs there. You can't park there. I hope they tow your cars. I hope they throw them in the East River.
Yeah, the
Well,
Pope talking about throwing people in the East River would be on brand to some degree.
that was probably his secretary. Damn it. Sorry. Speaking of the Sapphire Reserve rumors, Nick says, "Did you see the rumored CSR update? $795 annual fee and 195 authorized user." Yeah, I put a video about it.
Yeah.
It's on my channel. It's not great.
I do
The 190.
appreciate Matt making a video because I watch Matt's video as preparation for the podcast and for the live. So every time Matt does a video, I get easy preparation for my job.
I like making my co-host lives a little bit easier. Yeah, the 795 annual fee feels weird. The 195 authorized user I can live with just because how many authorized users are we really putting on a Sapphire Reserve? Like, how many authorized users are you putting on the Platinum card after the Platinum card went from 175 for three to 195 a pop? The American Airlines executive card that went to um like 10 for 150 to 10 authorized users for like 150. It was like it was insane how like an insanely good deal to 195 a pop. So 195 for an authorized user for a premium travel credit card is kind of the norm now.
So here's the thing. Matt holds the card. I do not. Um, I have the platinum. I To start off, I do wonder if not that, anybody would insider trade in the credit card world. Never. I do wonder if Chase maybe has some idea of what the platinum is going to, and their information just got leaked before the platinum. Because for a moment, suppose this is true.
Mhm.
That means the platinum is going higher than $795. I don't think Chase is going to be higher than the platinum on the platinum refresh. So I think they have some idea of where the platinum is going.
That certainly makes a good amount of sense. I've thought that, you know, the platinum was probably going to break 850. Um, I felt I didn't think we would cross 1,000. I didn't think we would get a comma on that annual fee, but I did. I thought anything up to 995, where you're like right
Yeah.
at the bleeding edge of that line, would be 995. It has to be like surreal credit update because they're not changing the what do you call it on that card? They're not changing the multipliers. They're not going to give you your ballyhooed 2x. Much as it would make the card a lot more appealing.
Just give me 1.5. Just 1.5 Hilton Diamond, and I will shill that card like nobody's business.
Yeah. Shatton mentions that CSR changes did not sound very appealing at the.
Let's go through what the rumors are for those who have not seen your video, Matt.
Yep.
You just put it out a little while ago, so maybe not everybody on the internet has seen it yet. Maybe they were waiting for this to watch just so they could see your reaction live. Go through the changes and then we'll talk about them, okay? I think that's the fairest way to do this.
Absolutely. Nick did chime in that he didn't see that I made a video. Yeah, it's fair. I put it out not too long ago. So we'll come back to comments on this in just a few, but let's pull this up here. So we're going to present, we're going to share screen, rumor. So rumor changes to the Chase to raise annual fee of Sapphire Reserve to $7.95. So this is the original poster. Credit to user. Yeah, that's the username. Who credited this other user. Not going to worry about it. The annual fee will go from $550 to $7.95. Authorized users will go from $75 to $195. Your multipliers will be 8 times Chase Travel, hotel, and cars, 8 times Chase Travel flights, 4 times direct flights and hotel, 1x other travel. We're going to come back to this. New benefits: a $500 edit credit via $250 semi-annually, so every 6 months, $250. A $300 dining credit via Sapphire Reserve tables, $250 semi-annual. A $300 StubHub credit via $150 semi-annual. $300 DoorDash credit via $25 a month. This is already in. This is already out there. $120 DoorDash membership. This is already out there. $250 towards Apple TV Plus and Apple Music. We'll talk about that in just a second. $120 Lyft credit via 5x and 10x, $10 per month. This is already out there. $120 Peloton credit via 10 times on spend and $10 per month. The $10 per month would be new. They already have the 10x until 2027. Received after spending $75,000. So they're going into some Amex territory with this one as well. A $500 Southwest credit, a Southwest A-list status, IHG One Rewards Diamond status, and $250 the shop's credit. Don't know what the shops is, but sure. A user did chime in with some edits. So the edits would be 10x Chase Travel Hotel and Cars reduced to 8x, 5x Chase Travel flights increased to 8x, 3x direct flights and hotels increased to 4x, 3x other travel reduced to 1x. All the new stuff. Same 3x dining, same $300 travel credit, same $120 TSA pre-check, TSA global entry credit every 4 years, unlock after $75,000 in spend, and there we go. So we're going to stop sharing on this one for the moment. A couple of these can make some sense. We were talking before we jumped on the live how some of these make a little bit of sense. Some of these will be interesting to see how they put them out there. I'm not going to talk about the $75,000 in spend credit additional stuff because all of that is stupid for $75,000 in spend. If I'm going to put $75,000 through that card and you're going to just give me Southwest A-list, go walk off a pier.
Okay. Hold one moment. Okay.
Sure.
I don't think that they're putting those four things, the Southwest credit, the A-list, the Diamond for IHG, or the Shops credit on there to get you to do 75,000. What I
Yes.
think that is there is for the people who are already spending 75,000. They want them to say, "Oh, cool, I already," or you spend 73,000 on the card every year, right? Like, this is not for you, Matt. I hate to tell you, this is not for you, right? This is not for the people who are spending 50,000 on the card. This is for the people who are spending probably 70,000 to maybe 80,000 just to be like, "Hey, here's a little sweetener to keep you spending on this card." It's not like, if you're spending 75,000 on the CSR every year, you probably don't also care about $500 for Southwest because you're probably not flying Southwest, right?
Right.
So I want to caution people, not specifically you, but I want to caution people who are seeing that, like, well, that's IHG Diamond isn't going to make me spend that much on a card. That's not what it's for. It's not to get the person spending 20,000 a year on this card to spend 75,000. So let's all step back from the edge on that point. I think that is something we have to keep in mind, is it's not, if you're spending 20 to even 60 a year on this card, that's not what this credit is for.
Yeah. No, that makes a certain amount of sense. It's just, yeah. So going back, the travel portal multiplier is changing, I think, is probably the only positive, but the only way I'm going to follow along with it is if the hotel multiplier, if they're expanding their using Chase Travel to also get status and elite nights and your spend in the portal to reflect with hotel partners, like what they have with the edit, but going into the rest of Chase Travel. I would trade 2 points per dollar to get that capability to, book IHG through the portal and work my way toward eventually IHG Platinum, or, maybe IHG Diamond, or another system, right? Like, if I'm paying cash, I tend to pay cash for Marriott hotels, right? If I could pay cash through the Chase Travel portal, make 8 times UR points, and be able to continue to make have stays at Marriott's that will get me potentially up to Marriott Gold. Okay, 20 nights is a little bit weird, but continue to pay cash for those and get Marriott Gold, potentially Marriott Platinum, and make 8 times UR points. I don't really care about the Marriott points that I'm gaining in addition to that, but getting higher status through the portal would be worthwhile to me.
Yes, I agree with that. I don't think the CSR is for credit card people. And I don't mean, like, I know Lonnie uses the CSR a lot because he does 1.5 for his points for redemptions, right? Like, that is very handy. I'm not saying that the CSR cannot be used by credit card people. I'm not saying that at all. I don't think it's primarily in Chase's mind for heavy credit card users. I think in Chase's mind, people who are heavy credit card users are probably going to have ink cards, and they might have this card as part of that sort of rotation to get the 1.5. But I think what Chase is trying to do, and making it clear by the credits and how they're doing this, is this is for the person who wants a single high-end card. Maybe they've got the Freedom Flex, maybe they've got the Freedom Unlimited, but otherwise they're not huge into credit cards. Like, this is for the person who's maybe retired or, more established in their sort of life, but isn't super into credit cards and just wants one card that can kind of do everything. Because this is more of a Swiss Army approach with us, right? You don't have that major travel multiplier, but you get more if you're booking through the portal. They want people booking through the portal because that benefits them, right?
Right.
So who is more likely to book through the portal? Probably people who are not transferring points out, people who are keeping those points there to get the 1.5, or just because they don't want to have the hassle, quote, of transferring points. So I think this is not this is not aimed at credit card people already, and I think this is aiming it more towards the quote general population than before. I think Chase is sort of doubling down on the fact that this is not meant to be the 10th credit card in your wallet or one of 10 in your wallet. This is meant to be maybe 2 or 3.
Which I could live with if that's the case, yeah, then a Freedom Unlimited paired with it just to get that higher base multiplier would be nice, or just put the higher base multiplier on this card. Just if you want it to be a one card rules all, give it 1.5x everything, some elevated stuff on dining, some elevated loose travel category that got severely restricted, and all the credits that they have. And like with their credits, like their travel credit doesn't give you travel multipliers until you've exhausted the credit. So if that's staying, that's there.
But we think about that. My parents, if my parents had this card, or my friends had this card that are not credit card people, they wouldn't think about, oh my God, I'm losing $300 of 3x, like on the current setup, right? Like they don't care about those 900 points. Like those 900 points do not matter at all to them in the way that they would matter to, say, you. And I think we have to keep that in mind, because I think this card is aimed squarely at people who are not us. And I think they're aiming it farther away from us. And I think that's why the reaction from you and the reaction from people in the chat and in the Discord is so strong, is because they're taking something that like is half aimed at us and aiming it farther away. And I think that feeling is disconcerting to people.
Yeah. No, I can definitely agree with that. Nick chimes in with, if the rumors are true, Chase found a way to outdo themselves with killing a card. I thought the United Club card was bad, but this takes the cake. Oh, don't you worry. If they've got this Project Emerald card coming out over the top, that card could be a absolute dog if this is what the Sapphire Reserve is going to become. Mike Newland, what's your thoughts on the Japan Airlines premium credit card, $85 annual fee? That is not a premium card. That is something else. I'll have to dig that card up again. I looked at it and it was just like really bad multipliers and not particularly compelling travel stuff, but it was good like for those establishing credit here for like Japanese foreign nationals setting up credit here in the United States. It was a good card for that. Kid Cat Craig is in the chat. Hey everyone. Hey Craig. He'll be back on Monday.
He will be. I'm very excited.
Our own chat, so we'll keep it moving there. Marcia M says, had the card downgraded when the Venture X came out, wouldn't get the card again if the rumors are true. Certainly understandable. Kid Cat mentions, the only reason I have the CSR is for the Lounge Network in IAD, Boston, and Philly. It doesn't do anything for me that the autograph or green can't do for less. And with a system I prefer. Yeah. If Chase is really going to cut out all other travel, this is a big opportunity for one of the other issuers to step into that all other travel void and come out with a travel focused card that will kind of take the place of the Sapphire Reserve, if this is the case. And the autograph
I'm sorry, go ahead.
The autograph at no annual fee can cover a lot of the same ground. Like Wells and Chase's travel and transit categories, travel and transit, not travel. Their travel and transit categories overlap significantly. So the autograph at no annual fee can cover a lot of the ground that you would be losing if Chase, in fact, makes it 1x all other travel that isn't direct flight to hotels.
Transfer to Hyatt, which is what is going to be pointed out ad nauseum. So I thought I would say it now.
That's fair. Again, in a video I did earlier this week, I think Chase is slowly preparing its users for the day that they are not going to renew their contract with Hyatt.
Yeah. Do you think that one of the Freedom cards could get a 3x travel because they want people to have multiple cards, and having the 3x travel on the CSR is sort of conglomerating things too much, so they want to try to have it split out? If you put it on the Freedom, it also differentiates the Freedom from the flex, or the Freedom Unlimited. If it goes there, it differentiates the flex from the unlimited.
It would. It doesn't solve the dining. Well, it might solve the dining problem. Like, let's say the unlimited swaps dining for travel, for Chase's travel, and keeps pharmacy. Now you can do dining on the Freedom Flex to remain complimentary and put another category in the pharmacy there so that uh, you can maybe change things there. Um, in the this would make sense in my brain portion of things, like that's the way I would operate. But I would certainly prefer that.
I could see them doing not refreshes to the cards in the way of like, here's a bunch of new like credits, right? But I could see them doing a little bit of tweaks once the CSR is out before the Emerald or whatever they call the upgraded card. I could see them doing some tweaks to the Freedom cards of just like, all right, we're going to move dining here, we're going to put travel here, we're going to sort of flow things out anyway. That does make some amount of sense.
Yeah. I could see tweaks to the Freedom cards. Freedom cards could use some tweaks. I'm curious to see what happens on the business side as well. We'll just have to see. We did have our co-host Tariq popping in to say, hey, also the CSR is not my fault. I'm going to take the blame on this one. I went to sleep for a couple hours to recover from morning of travel, and I woke up to a whole new world. So I'm going to take the heat on this one, but we'll see. Kit Kat chimes in with, I spent 103 nights in hotels last year, 10 in Hyatt. They just don't have locations that work for me on the personal or business end, with business being the most important of the two. Yeah, Hyatt's footprint is too small to be punching at the same weight as Marriott and Hilton. Like, Marriott has almost 10,000 locations now. Hilton has over 6,000. Like, Hilton is trailing to Marriott, but like, you're going to, more often than not, in most places, especially for business travel, you're going to find a Hilton and a Marriott a lot more likely than you are going to find a Hyatt. And Hyatt's footprint is just not big enough to, be that anchor for Chase. And Chase might slowly be moving away from that.
So, real-time follow-up, Marriott has approximately 9,100 hotels and resorts, and Hilton has approximately 8,600 properties. So they're actually pretty darn close to each other. They're within 500 properties in the world.
Okay. Much closer than I thought. My apologies there. But still, if you look at that compared to Hyatt, which last I saw 1,300, yeah. And I think that's before the Mr. and Mrs. Smith properties, but they only add like another 700. So it's 2,000 versus 10,000, basically.
Yeah.
It's rough. RJ has put Tariq back in the corner anyway. Tariq laughs. Keith chimes in with, I'm possibly going to activate all of my other priority pass accounts so I can use 1 or 2 free passes from each to use at the Sapphire Lounges. Yeah, in the event that this happens, that might have to be a path. We'll see. They Hate Me says, in the credit card game, do you think there is such a thing as too much overall total available credit? I mean, it will depend on your credit limits will depend on your income, right? Depending on the number of cards that you get and your like total spending power with American Express, because they don't give you an exact credit limit with the charge cards, you could have, 2 or 3 times your income in total available credit. But as long as you manage things properly, that shouldn't be an issue. If you're not maxing it out.
I think there are a couple of things with this. I think it can for some issuers, right? Like if they see, well, you have 20,000 in available credit and you spent 2,000 through our cards last year. They might look at that and either just decline you or be like, hey, we should slash your limits. As Matt knows from the X1 card, you don't use a card, and sometimes they can slash your limits, which can, if you have balances on other cards, change your debt ratio. So potentially, right? If you have a lot of credit on a card you never use, that could bite you. Overall, all it takes is a bad month for you to have a bunch of debt that you didn't have at the beginning of the month. And if you've got available credit and you rack it up because life hit you fast, that can also be a problem. So in general, probably not, but there are some caveats and carve-outs to be aware of in that situation. Yeah, and like Keith pointed out, loans and mortgages, things like that can also be impacted. If you've got a bunch of super high credit limits, sometimes mortgage companies will be like, well, you could use that if you wanted. So I do know people who've had to cut some of their limits down so their mortgage company's happier.
Yeah. So there can be too much overall credit. You just have to take all things into consideration. So if you need to take out a loan, or you're looking to take out a mortgage, make sure that your utilization is in a good place. Make sure that you're not overextending yourself with total available credit. But this is also going to be subjective to each person, right? Like, it depends. A lot of it will depend on your income. If your income's relatively high and you've got a very large amount of total available credit, but you have the income to justify it, you're fine. If your income is not as high, but you still have a lot of available credit, issuers may take notice of that as a potential risk. So, it's cool to have a Sapphire Reserve with like a $32,000 credit limit, but if you're only routinely using like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 of that at any given time, maybe they're going to be less inclined to keep you at $32,000.
And like, I think it's a thing in the community of, oh, it's so cool I have this high limit. But if you never go over 3,000 in any given month, you can have a $5,000 limit and be fine. Like, yes, you have to worry about utilization a little bit, but also you're probably fine. I think we have it in our heads that having a higher credit limit is somehow a status symbol. And I think we need to get out of that mindset. As long as you can, if you're bucketed at $1,000 with Cap One, that's a little bit different. But I think as long as your credit limit is not lower than what you typically want to spend on that card in a month and can pay off in a month, I think you're probably fine.
Yeah. Okay. Am I back?
There we go. I couldn't hear you for a second. I was very confused.
Yep.
I think your mic has changed because you sound differently.
I sound different. Okay. 1 second, guys. Sorry. This always happens.
Oh, a $61,000 limit. I would say that's a little bit higher than most people are going to get on a British Airways card.
Yeah. We'll come back to chat in just a second. So M2K, Hilton FNC are amazing value. He's using it at the LXR Roku Kyoto, which is around $1,000 a night. Yeah, I mean, of the free night certificates, Hilton's amazing.
I just wish you could do it through their website. Like, there's no reason you can't like click a button like you can on like IHG and just apply that cert and do it through their website. They just want to sell you their packages so you can like go listen to a pitch for different things, but it's ridiculous. You can't use them online.
Yep. Absolutely. We already covered Keith. So going to chat and speaking of ridiculous credit limits, I decided to YOLO an application yesterday as I'm about to hit 524. Applied for the British Airways 100,000 Avios offer and got a $61,000 limit. So absurd. I also got a British Airways 100,000 Avios offer. I'm not going to take it, but they offered you that much of a limit. That's insane.
So you're going to be flying around the world 3 times a month and you'll be all set.
On Qatar.
Yeah. I do want to talk about some of the credits that are possible on this new CSR. Um, we talked before the show, as we often do, about the Apple credit. Um, I think this is going to be able to be used to buy media. So you want to buy a TV show, you want to buy music, you want to buy whatever. I think it's going to be usable there because that hooks you into the Apple ecosystem in a way that Apple would find very pleasing. Because if you buy something, if you buy a full series of The Office or whatever, you're more likely to buy your other media that way because you want it all together. Like we as people want to be able to conglomerate our media all together. And I think they would like that. I don't think this necessarily means that they're getting the Apple card. It might be, but I think for that specific credit, you're going to be able to buy media because Apple wants to hook you in, and it doesn't like the Matt and I checked the prices for Apple TV Plus and Apple Music, and the math doesn't math at $250. So I think you're going to be able to buy media.
Media purchase makes a lot more sense. I said in the video that I did that I would love to see an Apple One credit. I forgot the pricing on Apple One is a little stupid. Apple should probably fix the Apple One subscriptions because what they're offering for $20 and what they offer at $40 is.
You can also have a ton of family on there though that
Yeah.
does like I have 4 people total on my Apple subscription, and it would be much, much higher if we individually all paid for it than the $40 a month I pay for it. So it's actually not terrible if you're doing the family if you have more than 2 people. If you have only 2 people, it usually doesn't math.
Yeah, I want to individually like I want more than Apple TV, Apple Music, and fitness. I want those plus news and more storage for myself, but I don't want to pay $40 for myself to do all of those things.
That seems like a you problem, Matt. Apple is
That's
perfect, so it seems like a you problem.
I will agree to disagree on that one. J. Rome says, I have the Sapphire Reserve. These changes all but guarantee I'm going to double dip the travel credit, then downgrade. Yeah, that is a definite possibility.
Here's my question though, for you, J. Rome. Why not wait until you're up for your like if your annual fee is going to hit next month? I get it, right? But if your annual fee is not hitting for 7 months, keep the card, use the credits you want to use, and then downgrade right before your annual fee hits. Like, don't downgrade early just because you're unhappy. Like, if you can use any of those DoorDash credits, if you can use the Lyft credit, if you can use the StubHub credit, use it up, friend. Like, if you're mid-cycle, use those credits for all they're worth, and then downgrade.
Yeah, that is definitely a way to go. And J-Rum says also, hello guys. I think that we're kind of overemphasizing the changes that are still not official. Like, again, this is rumor. I'm hopeful that this is not the final version of the card. I would be grandfathered into not paying the $7.95 if it goes up to $7.95. Like, my annual fee hit in April, so like I'm good until next year, and so I would have to sit there and wait and see if it's worth keeping.
Hold on, would you go down to the CSP next year if this is what the card? Hold on, Matt, are you going to be a proud owner of a CSP?
Proud? No.
Owner?
I don't know yet.
Would you get the ink? Would you get the ink preferred or the Sapphire preferred? Because the Sapphire you can just downgrade, right? Like you don't have to do anything. You don't have to open a new line or anything. Because now I kind of want a world where you, me, and Tariq all have a CSP for a minute.
So I
just put this in your head, and you're now fighting it with every ounce of yourself.
No, because in the video I did, I was like, if this is what's happening, I may have to strongly consider the Sapphire Preferred, but I don't even know what the new Sapphire Preferred is going to look like after its refreshes. Like, there's no way you're going to do this level of change to the Sapphire Reserve and
not
leave the Sapphire Preferred where it is.
Yeah.
So I got to see what the 150, 195 Sapphire Preferred looks like. Like they're going to give themselves the ability to move the Sapphire Preferred up to 195, possibly even higher, and
Do
it's going to be really hard to justify it.
do you think we're gonna do a speculation station for a second?
Sure.
Um, do you think at that point they introduce a lower, like they have the no annual fee Sapphire that doesn't really do anything, right?
Yep.
Do you think they could introduce something? Because right now, A, you can only have one Sapphire, and B, you have to have a Sapphire to move points out, right? Like those are two things that Chase has been pretty dogmatic about the last several years, right? Only
Yep.
one, unless you have a partner and you're AU on each other's cards, but like you can only have one yourself, and you have to have a Sapphire to transfer points. If they go up to say 195 or 150 on the preferred, that's 150 just to quote just to transfer points. That seems a bit high only to be able to transfer point. Like, and I'm saying only in air quotes, right? Because the card, I have less of a problem with the CSP in general than you do, but I also think 150 to 195 is beyond a tipping point for a quote just transfer points card, right?
Yeah.
Do you think at that point they put something at like $75 that like is basically nothing but just a, you know, you can transfer points with this and maybe you get 1.1 in the transfer portal? Is there a way, is there a path you see where they put something that's kind of like in general terrible, but it is the card that if you just want to transfer points to Hyatt, you can have this card that is basically meaningless?
So, Kid has put in two options in the chat, and we're going to come back to the other chats in just a second. So Kid says if they put 3 to 4x groceries, general groceries on the Sapphire Preferred, I'm in. LOL. Or 3x gas, grocery, and travel, double confirm via stack your points at 250. I
Kid,
think
they're gonna put a grocery cap on that of 25,000 because they're gonna see this live, know that you want this card, and are gonna be like, hard no. Hard no, sir, with your $40 million a year in grocery spend.
I mean, when you're feeding the army of of Slovakia, yeah, that's going to do it. I so a Sapphire Preferred at 150, and it stays exactly the same as it is now with its 5x in the travel portal, it's 5x on Lyft, it's 3x online grocery, 3x dining, 2x travel, general travel. That's going to be really hard to justify at 150. Because how many people are already using that card as an everyday card now? Like people are hacking the online travel and like not online travel, I'm sorry, hacking the online groceries and like finding ways to use it as a 3x grocery card, and that's great, don't get me wrong. I still think that it should just be a 3x grocery card. Like the time for online grocery is over. It's dumb. Just make it grocery, and I'll be happier. I do think that it's a little bit weird. Have you lost my audio again?
I lost it for a second. It's back, but you're back to your AirPods.
Grumble.
I don't know why it doesn't like you.
Due
Talking bad about
to
the
the
CSP.
I have an idea of as to why. I plugged my microphone into a USB port, like USB extender. So I think the connection between the extender and my laptop is a little bit rough. So I will direct connect it next time. Anyway, going back to it, the CSP at 150, 195, and it's still just a sock drawer point transfer card. Rough. I think giving it regular groceries, and I think introducing a gas category somewhere in the lineup will go a long way. I don't know that I would do 3x gas, grocery, and travel at 250. That would be a little bit painful, but universal, like travel the world, gas, grocery, travel, dining would be, they would make the CSP far more interesting. But I don't know that I want to do that.
But I still think they need some, if it goes up to 150 or 195, forget the 250 because I think if they do that, they have. But like, you've got to have something lower. You have to have something sub 100 to move points, right? Like, I feel like that is. I feel like if you go to 150, 195, to be able to move anything, maybe it's how they keep Hyatt. Maybe Hyatt's like, we need you to stem people from moving points, and they think moving it up will have enough attrition to not just move all of the points. Maybe, but I still think you need something under 150 for a points moving card. Matt is having technical difficulties, everyone. Please bear with us. He is connecting his microphone directly. But yeah, I would love to hear in the chat what you guys think, if you think that they'll need something under that, like 150, 195 price point. Do I have you back, Matt?
I think I'm back.
You are back, and you sound normal, so that's good.
Perfect. Okay, good. Sorry. All right, going back to the chat real quick. A couple of the loose ends that I'll go back to real quick. Keith says that he likes Apple News. Apple News is pretty nice. I just don't want to pay for it right now unless it's part of a bigger package of things that I'm getting from Apple. Shatton says those Avios are definitely going to be used on Qatar. Awesome. Jerome followed up that his renewal is in about 6 months. Wasn't rushing to close for sure. And yes, I will. I'm sure to maintaining
use the credits.
Yeah. Keith says we're in a travel recession and these banks are refreshing the premium travel cards and raising the annual fees. It's because the community, I think, is so built on, quote, aspirational travel, right? Like, that is what they're selling. They're not selling you reality. They're selling you the idea that you could get on a plane in first class and go around the world. That's what they're selling people. So yeah, it makes sense. They want people. They also have people that don't pay attention to their annual fees, right? Like, I know people with credit cards who are surprised every year that they're paying an annual fee. Until the bill comes with the annual fee on it, they pay it and forget about it for 11 months and 30 days. And then it surprises them again the next year. Like, there are people who will just forget, pay it without thinking too hard, and then go on with their lives. So I agree that we're in a travel recession, but I also don't think we're in as much of a travel recession as we probably should be. We're also in an artificial recession. Like,
yeah, well,
none of this needed to happen.
There's also that, but that's a whole different YouTube channel.
Yeah, we keep talking about that.
Maybe. We do.
Shatton says, truthfully, if these CSR changes are realized, it gives more merit to holding the Ritz-Carlton Visa or the Venture X. Before you go down the Ritz-Carlton path, I do think the Ritz-Carlton will also see its annual fee raised.
Yeah, there's no way it doesn't.
Yeah. It'll be the second card at $6.95 for gold status.
J-Rome, I think the problem is that for a lot of people, people in the travel game, right? People like us, people listening to this live, people who listen to Stack Your Points, people in our Discord, join the Discord. I think for us, transfer partners and all of that are important, right? But I also think that, like, for the general population, like, they just have a card and they just like their Chase card and they'll get a bunch of Chase cards, but they're not looking to get Wells Fargo cards or Amex cards or anybody else. Like, if you're thinking of the general population, I don't think you're necessarily changing that much, because I'm not saying it because I think people are stupid. I just think a lot of people aren't paying attention to the same things that people in the travel game are, right? It's like if you play guitar, but you just can play like 3 chords, you're going to look for very different things in a guitar than somebody who plays out, 4 nights a week and isn't quite a professional, but, has a lot more experience, right? Like, you just look for different things. So I think we're looking at this in a very different light than the general public. I think for us, yeah, the autograph is cool, but I also think if you're not a portal person, which is adjacent to a pod person, that the autograph is a non-starter because of the partners. Like I love the autograph. I think it's a great card. I would never get it even if Wells Fargo gave it to me because I can't do much with it.
Yeah, they would still benefit from getting more transfer partners. Yes. In a world where Chase is doing these crazy things, potentially, like Wells would be well positioned to be an off ramp for people if they got more um if they got more transfer partners that more broadly covered folks.
Oh yeah, Keith, it is Mother's Day weekend we're going into. Will we get the Strata Prestige, Matt?
I just want to have a nice Sunday.
It is supposed to be lovely in New York on Sunday, by the way.
I
Like the
just want to have a
weather is going to be beautiful.
calm, quiet Sunday. I've got 2 pairs of Chuck Converses, I got Chuck Taylors I got to order. I just want a nice, quiet Sunday. I don't want to have to be like, God, I have to record a video now and yell at City for making me work on a Sunday. I mean, City doesn't care. They only work on Sundays. It's weird.
Gives us something to talk about on Monday, though.
It will. It definitely will. Shatton agrees with the rates going up, but most likely we'll have a better set of credits. Hopefully, but the point is valid.
The
Also, Chase
problem.
needs.
Oh,
Yep.
so sorry. Go ahead.
Chase needs to have a card with an annual fee below $100. Psychologically, people don't want to see triple digits. Yeah, I just don't know if they're moving the Sapphire Preferred up, right? Are they going to like trademark Sapphire Select as like a card that is lower tier at 95? And then what does that look like given that it would just be a $95 placeholder to move your points? Is it just a 1.5x everything card?
But then why have the free, like the thing is Chase does have $0 cards. Like the Freedom cards are $0 cards. They don't do what we want them to do, but also like friends of mine, and I don't mean to use friends nebulously. It's just I don't want to name names for people who are not in the credit card game, but like they don't really understand the difference between points and cashback. They just because they don't ever cash them out, right? Like they're not cashing points out. They'll use them as cashback cards even if they're points. So for them, like the difference between a CSP and a Freedom Unlimited isn't very much, if anything, right? Like especially they might like the Freedom more because of the 1.5.
Yes.
So I think from a Chase point of view, they're like, we do have $0 annual fee cards. We have several of them. Please take your pick of any of them. Also, have you seen the ink cards?
If they go this route, like Ink Preferred,
That's going to
3x
have to get a
travel.
raise, though. Like you would imagine the Ink Preferred would also be maybe not. Maybe if the CSP goes to 195, the ink goes to 150.
Yeah, I mean 150 keep the card where it is now, it's fine. I mean, it'll suck paying an extra what $55 for it, but you don't have to coupon that you don't have to coupon that card. And I'm sure it would get like additional Instacart benefits as well. So, oh, you know what? This whole rumor, no addressing Instacart benefits on the Sapphire Reserve. We know that the Instacart benefits are going to come to the Sapphire cards because they're on the Freedom cards, they're on the Ink cards. The Ink cards have $20 benefits on the Ink Unlimited and Ink Cash. Like the Ink Preferred, the Sapphire Reserve, and the Sapphire Preferred were all left off of the Instacart benefits. There's no way they're going to do Instacart benefits on the no annual fee cards and all of the co-branded cards and not bring them to the Sapphire cards or the Ink Preferred. I mean, they could. They absolutely could. But like, this is Chase. That's not how they operate.
Typically not, no.
But this whole rumor is not how Chase operates either. Because Chase doesn't, prior to introducing the monthly credits, and the monthly credits were just at a minimum with Lyft and DoorDash, Chase didn't do the nickel and diming credits. But given that American Express makes more money than God every quarter, they might be changing that ethos to match it so that, you know, they're going to make the same sort of profits. I don't know.
I mean, I think the problem is that Chase and American Express are just very different companies, and I
Yes.
think Chase just taking the lesson of put credits on cards, make profit doesn't actually make any sense. Like it doesn't make sense based on their clientele. It doesn't make sense based on their partners. Like it doesn't make sense based on a lot of things. And yet that seems to be the lesson that Chase is taking away.
Yeah. Like I don't think that Chase will. I'm not 100% sure on how true these rumors are. First and
Mhm.
foremost, I could see 795. Right, 795 is the most well. 795 and the edit credit are the most believable portions of this rumor.
I think keeping the $300 travel credit and the TSA credit. I can believe it will keep the TSA credit. I think we can bank that one.
All credits currently assigned to the card will stay. I think that can also like that's kind of a given for me as well. Sorry. So like the $300 travel credit will stay. That you said it. I'm not going to repeat it. So yes, those are believable. The um portal the portal earnings I can almost believe. I can't believe they're going to strip travel from this card. I don't see. I can understand the StubHub credit to a certain extent. I don't. It just doesn't match what the card is.
But could it be that our perception of putting this card in a box is not what Chase cares about? Like
That's fair.
we have talked before a lot about the fact that you specifically, and I do this with Amex, but you do this specifically with Chase. Less so with Wells Fargo because their cards do make more sense. But you want Chase to make sense. You want Chase to have cards that are complementary and make sense. And Chase is like, no, thank you. Like, Chase just doesn't care about that in the same way that people who look at this sort of holistically and want a wallet completely of Chase cards will. And I do wonder if our viewpoint of what this card should be and what we want this card to be is blinding us to the fact that Chase does not care about that at all.
Oh, absolutely. Like again, Chase is the biggest issuer of credit cards until later this month. Chase is the biggest issuer of credit cards in the United States. Chase has more available credit out there in the United States than and they're going to drop to number 2, but they're not going to drop to number 2 by a ton. Um
Who's overtaking them, Amex?
Capital One.
Really? Oh, because of Discover. Okay. Sorry. I went dumb for a minute. I forgot that that was happening.
Yep. Um we may see a member of the family on the board at Capital One at in their next yearly meeting, but you know, anyway, Chase, I understand that Chase doesn't have to make changes because Chase is sitting pretty. Like even if they drop to number 2, like they don't have to go out of their way to make things make sense, right? Capital One does things that don't make sense. Their bucketing system, their swapping of network processors for all their cards, the fact that you can't immediately downgrade a venture X to a venture without some sort of special loophole because they made the venture a MasterCard so that it made the downgrade path much harder. Not to say that it doesn't exist, but they made it for Chase. You can easily move your Sapphire Reserve to a Sapphire Preferred if you want, right? American Express, you can move your gold card to a traditional green card if you want, or a classic green card if you want,
Though
or
that
your
path
platinum card.
has that path has been cut. The classic green has been cut.
Yes. So the most you can do is move it down to a green card, right? But you can
Right.
move your platinum to a green card
Yes.
easily. You can move all of your credit cards in your credit card families up and down as you see fit. Capital One doesn't believe in this. Wells is a little bit weird with product changes. They're still not allowing product changes from the autograph journey to at least the autograph. Folks were hoping to get off the autograph journey to the autograph after a year. Doesn't seem to be working for a lot of folks, but Wells is Wells. Just add more transfer partners and everybody will be happy. And put that transit category on the autograph journey. But before I get too into the weeds on that one, Chase doesn't have to do anything. I know, but just, if this is the way that they're going to go about things, it doesn't may not bode well for the travel, the points and miles like nerddom community. Regular people, it doesn't matter. Like they're gonna get their Freedom Unlimited because Kevin Hart and Steph Curry tell you to be the king of cash backing, and they're just gonna cash out the points at 1 cent per point.
Do you also think that this might be a way for Chase to lighten up their books on this card? Like this to me looks like they might want to get some people off of the reserve, and the easiest way to get people off of a card is just to raise the annual fee, right? Like they don't want to close the accounts, because if people are willing to pay the annual fee, they will gladly take their money.
Right.
But maybe if they're doing something with like lounges, if they are going to go a little harder into lounges, maybe they want to lighten up the amount on the CSR before they go forward. Maybe try to get some people to downgrade to the CSP before they do that, just to lighten up the number of people that they're going to let into those lounges. I am purely playing hypotheticals, guys. I don't necessarily believe that's what's happening, but I'm playing the hypothetical game.
To a certain extent, I could almost believe that. They are also coming out with, they did recently trademark the term Chase Sapphire Reserve Lounge Network. So they didn't put Chase in front of it, but it's Sapphire Reserve Lounge Network. And I have no idea what Sapphire Reserve Lounge Network means in addition to Sapphire Lounges. So there may be there may be something to that. And again, raising the annual fee, that's fine. To limit the number of people, like Amex is going to see a great culling when they raise the platinum, right? There's a ton of people out there who are signed on at $6.95 who aren't necessarily going to be there at $8.95, $9.49. So I can certainly understand that. I just don't know, like, the other way you could do that is, well, no, the other way wouldn't be coming over the top with a more premium card. Well, maybe no, because you.
I mean, it depends on what that card is, right? Like if the Emerald is 2,500, and it almost matches the Centurion, right? Like the Centurion is a little bit of a black box because we kind of know what's in it, we kind of don't, it's a rare gem of the credit card, and I don't mean gem as in like fantastic. I mean gem as in like it's the rich people's credit card, right? Like because of what you have to do. And yes, I understand that the JP Morgan Reserve, you need 10 million. But people don't talk about the JP Morgan card the way they do about the Centurion card, right? Like it's not in the cultural zeitgeist the same way. But I do wonder if they make it if they make the Emerald 2,500 and it becomes the card that if you can afford it, like it is the card to have, if we will not care so much about this because it will look like a bargain in comparison.
Plausibly. I mean, I would need to know what that card looked like.
You actually get, believe it or not, Marriott Gold.
Can't wait. Oh boy. Marriott Gold is just a joke status.
Is there anything that they could put on the Emerald card that would make you pay like 2,500? Like realistically, like they could give you a concierge to like come to your house, but like I mean realistically.
Baller concierge service would be sweet.
Free Mets dugout tickets every home game.
I feel like that would be a city thing, but that would also be awesome. Like I would just be able to sit right behind the dugout. That would be awesome. I don't know. I mean, if I was paying $2,500 a year, like, let's just go crazy. Let it be a base 3x card. That's before travel. That's before anything else. Like a base 3x multiplier. Because I feel with a $2,500 annual fee, you should be able to support a base 3x multiplier.
2.5 at least.
Sure, we'll go 2.5. So let's say base 3x multiplier. That would make me go, oh, cool. That's awesome. Now, yes, you would have to spend an ungodly amount of money through that card to justify the full $2,500 annual fee. If that's all you were doing, which would be insane, don't do that. But it would have to come with multiple hotel statuses. And it would have to come with at least one airline status.
Funny enough, Southwest A1. Or A-list or whatever they call it.
They can go walk off a pier. Like, I don't think that Chase is going to be strengthening its relationship with JetBlue anytime soon, so I don't think you're going to get like Mosaic 2 with just by holding the card. JetBlue,
United Silver.
United Silver would be awesome just for holding the card. That would be great because then it would be an on-ramp for people to get the card to get United Silver and still have like the lounge network, still have a whole bunch of other things. So like in United Silver, you can match around as well as needed. And then from there, like you just have to fly United a couple more times and earn some PQPs, and you'll have gold relatively quickly from there to maintain it. You'd have to have something crazy like the ability to reserve the lounge within a lounge that you can make reservations like one time a year for free. I don't know how well that would go over because you would have a certain amount of card holders and only, 365 days and 3-hour increments in those days to do that.
They might lower it to 2 for the free one.
Yeah. What else could they put on that card?
United Club would be good, Keith. I like that. The United Club access.
United Club access for that card yet? $2,500. You should be getting United Club for it.
They could put a Hyatt status of some sort.
Explorers would be great. I don't think even
I could also. Okay, here's a question, Matt, because we talk about Hyatt a lot, right? If they moved their regular cards to like 1 to 0.8, right? Like something like that, like some 1 to 0.75, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. But with this card, you get 1 to 1 with Hyatt.
Oh, that'd be diabolical.
But you could, like, if we're talking about the idea that Hyatt might just be like, we don't want you to move 100,000 points on the, CSP offer directly on over to us, that would do it, right? Like, put a card where you can get 1 to 1 with Hyatt. Because I imagine the Hyatt and Bilt partnership is not going to be renewed, right? Whenever that is up, I could see that one probably not getting renewed. That would be a way to cull a little bit of the Hyatt so Hyatt can keep their dynamic pricing, which they seem to have as a mark of pride. And you still can get 1 to 1. It's like with the Amex Business Platinum. You can cash out Amex at 1 cent a point, but you have to do this other thing.
Maybe.
I again, guys, this is speculation. This is like questions to put into the ether. This is not me saying that this is what's going to happen. But it would make sense for them not to have a pure 1 to 1 on Hyatt on the lower cards if they go with this like $2,500, $1,500, $2,500 card. With Hyatt being so shy about, because that is going to have a killer welcome offer.
It would. I'm not loving the idea of paying $795 for 1 to 0.8 to Hyatt, but yeah. Keith also said 2 Hyatt Guest of Honor certificates. Kid mentions, I support the 2-to-1 UR to Hyatt transfer part just for chaos.
I mean, that would be a way for Hyatt to protect their dynamic pricing.
You mean award chart?
Award chart, sorry. Well, yes, award chart, sorry.
Because dynamic pricing is
from going to dynamic pricing.
Yes. Dynamic pricing is what's going to make the house of cards just completely fall.
Yes.
Kid also says that must make this card worth its weight in gold.
Don't pick on Amex like that, Kid. Obviously, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah. Going back to some other comments real quick. Keith did say, but Chase didn't announce it on the other card. He's talking about Instacart. Maybe they aren't going to add Instacart to the Sapphire cards. Maybe. I don't think that's going to be the case, but plausible. And then J-Rome, get my Capital One card. I don't know what you mean here, but we'll continue on. So we've got a mythical emerald card. We've got Sapphire Reserve, whatever this Sapphire Reserve rumor is. I don't know. And then, like, if the Sapphire Reserve is going up to $7.95, I really don't know what a Sapphire Preferred looks like.
I mean, maybe they just take the word online off of grocery, because I think that for a lot of people would be enough for them to go up to $195 with the card. Maybe. Like, I do think for a lot of people in the community, that would be enough. Like, if Kid could get 3x UR points uncapped, I think even Kid would be like, well, everybody's getting prime rib tonight. For the 96 people that he feeds every night, everybody's getting prime rib.
Nearly a battalion. No, not really.
He basically is patent. Like, he is feeding that many people.
Several platoons.
Yes. No, but I could see them refreshing the CSP and the freedoms. Like, I understand that they've done some refreshing sort of stealthily, but they haven't really touched the multipliers. Like, I feel like the refresh is not done until multipliers are touched.
Yeah. I'm curious to see what they do, like how they would justify ditching out all the travel that they have and just moving to flights and hotels. Like, that doesn't even cover rental car. They're not even talking about rental cars, ferries. They're not talking about cruise ships. They're not talking about anything else that codes as travel, but direct flights and direct hotels, where, like, the autograph journey, even with its limited travel category, like, they're going to give you 5 times autograph points on hotels book direct, 4 times with flights book direct, 3 times on things like cruise ships, rental cars. Don't know if commuter anything is out, but cruise ships, rental cars, there's like at least 1 or 2 others that qualify for travel on the autograph journey. And then the plain Jane autograph card has just as much travel and transit as Chase at no annual fee.
To Keith's point, I think they want people to pick, because I think they want to sort of guide people to the reserve. But I don't know with this change if people will be so easily guided.
No, I think an $800 Sapphire Reserve and but then you're paying like $950 for 2 cards, which you're in the Amex ecosystem. That doesn't befront you one iota.
Okay, can we now talk about what the platinum might do? Now that we have spent an hour on the CSR, can we talk about the card that actually matters?
The City Strata Elite, sure.
Yes, let's talk about the City Strata Elite and how great it's going to work when they put them. Okay, City has a chance to do the funniest thing in the world. Make the Strata Elite have a mobile wallet category.
God, that would piss me off.
And then have it freeze every time you try to add it to mobile wallet.
No. Every single mobile wallet purchase, you can add it to mobile wallet, no problem. Every single mobile wallet purchase triggers fraud.
Yeah, because that's
You
what
have a
City
new card
does.
issued to you every single time you use mobile wallet, but it's a 5x mobile wallet category every time it's successful, which it will
Yes.
never be successful.
Uh,
Also, Keith, if they make it a grocery category, then I think they should take away the one Sapphire rule. Yeah, if they make the Sapphire Preferred a grocery card, you have to get rid of like a pure grocery card. Get rid of the one Sapphire rule. All right, so you want to talk MX Platinum? Let's talk
Well,
MX Platinum.
I do. I
I
I don't know what they did. Like, here's the thing: is like the platinum is what the platinum is, right? Like, it is a travel subscription with a credit card attached. It's great if you do airlines. Like, if you fly, it's a great card because you get 5x MR points, which can turn into 10x Hilton or 5x Delta or other partners, right? Like, it's a solid card if you fly. It's a solid card if you can, like, I make out in benefits. I won't call it effective annual fee, but I make out in benefits on the card.
Mhm.
I don't know realistically what they can put on that card to take it to 9.95, which is what I think is going to be the new annual fee. I don't think they're going to hit 4 digits. I don't think they're going to do 850 or 895. I think if they're going to do it, I think they're going to do it. I just don't know what they're going to do to the card to bump it up. Cuz putting like $100 resi credit on there and like bumping it up $100 like does not feel like a platinum move. Like, that's a move you do on the gold, that's a move you might do on the green. It doesn't feel like something they would do for the platinum.
What about a $400 resi that's $100 quarterly?
That would piss me off more than I can possibly tell you because I can't use resi where I am conveniently.
Keith reminds us that Tariq needs the MX Platinum.
I don't think Tariq, like, even if the Amex Platinum gave you United Gold for some reason, that Tariq would get the Amex Platinum.
Yeah. All right, so let's say 995, right? 995, the Equinox credit has to get updated to something more useful. Um the Looking at the existing credits, like, do they bump those up? They could add more to the Uber credit. Should probably include Uber One as
You
part of
can
it.
probably do Uber One fairly easily,
Yeah.
um,
I mean, you're
which
getting 6 months
isn't
for free
hard,
of Uber One with the Apple Card right now,
right?
starting in July.
I mean, they can update the digital entertainment credit and just make it 300 or 350. Like, because here's the
Yep.
thing: I have the Disney bundle with ESPN and whatever, and I still pay $6.99 a month, including the $20 credit. So, like, I'm over it by $6.99. So if they just bumped it up to cover whatever the top end Disney bundle is, or not the one with like Showtime or whatever it is. I don't have the Disney thing opened in front of me, guys. Sorry if I picked the wrong product, but like whatever the top end bundle with Disney is, if they just cover that, I
Yeah.
think they can move it to like 300 or 350 and it doesn't actually like hurt them all that much. Cuz Disney gets a lot from that. If they put Hilton Diamond, I will not be canceling the card because then I don't have to get the Aspire as well. Like, I would be so happy.
Moving the statuses up, Hilton Diamond at 995 would make a fair amount of sense because you're paying 550. No, yeah, 550
550.
for the Hilton Aspire to get Diamond. So like a significant um upcharge on the Platinum, but getting Diamond would make a fair amount of sense because it's 695 and only getting Hilton Gold, that hurts. But moving up to Diamond with a 995 would be preferential. Marriott Platinum status would be the same sort of like extra surcharge for the higher status when compared to the Bonvoy Brilliant. So
Saks may go up to 200, so it's $200 credits. I could see them doing that.
Yeah, doubling that would make a lot of sense. But like, I don't know that there's any like you can tweak the credits that you already have, but like, are there new credits out there? Well, there's always new credits out there that you
Just
could.
make it 1.5. Even 1.5 mobile wallet. Just make it 1.5.
Yep,
Like that
1.5 would
is
go a
the
long way.
if they do 1.5, put on like Hilton Diamond, Marriott Platinum, which they already offer on cards. So it's not like these are statuses you cannot attain with credit cards, right? And there'll be enough attrition just moving the annual fee that it's not like everybody with a platinum stays at Hilton anyway. So
Yeah,
it's not like they have a run on status. I would pay like look, I would actually have to sit down and do the math, right? I th- so Keith, I think that the diamond status would cannibalize it, but I also think the people who have the platinum, like the people who have and keep the platinum, who are not like sitting down and doing the math on things like I am, don't care or don't necessarily stay at Hilton's or stay at the medium to mid level Hiltons. Like, yeah, if they're at the top end Hiltons, maybe, but I think people would potentially keep the Aspire for the free night cert, for the things that come with the spend, for all of that. I don't think
the
most
resort
people
credits
have
and
the
all that.
Aspire just for status.
Yeah. Although looking at the business platinum, they did add that Hilton credit toward the end of 2024, and broke
They
the
did.
Hilton gift card website
I, I
in the
used I
process.
I used it on a hotel room. It was great. It worked perfectly.
You could see maybe if they went to Diamond, that you could add the same $200 credit, $200 yearly credit
Yeah.
to Hilton. Um, so
Because
that's another.
Hilton and Amex, they're like 95% as close as Hilton and Delta. Like Hilton has no desire to leave Amex. They are best buddies.
No,
They
Ahab
are
caught the whale on that one.
they are Cagney and Lacey. Like they are right there. And then Delta and Amex, I think, will break up about the time the sun cannibalizes the earth. Um, or Delta just buys a bank and issues their own credit cards. Which
Which is more
honest,
likely to happen.
yeah. So yeah, no, but I think if you put Diamond on there, because the Aspire offers like the free night cert and stuff, I don't think there would be some people, but I don't think it would be like more than maybe 5 to 10% of people with Aspires who would be like, no, I'll go get this other card.
Yeah.
Um, because there's also people who have both the Platinum and the Aspire, and it's not for status, it's for everything else that comes with that card. The Aspire is a really solid card.
Yeah, and they took away priority pass access on the Aspire. They took away some other portions of things from the Aspire, where like this two would still be complimentary, but at $1,700. Well, $1,600. I can't do math. Closer to $1,700 than $1,600 for holding the two cards. It's still going to be a lot that you have to justify for holding both. But you could do it. Airline incidental, I could see them doubling that or giving you an extra $100.
Yeah. Because that's
Move
one of
that from
those
two to
ones that
three.
if you don't use it, you don't think about it, right? Like if you're not somebody who pays for luggage or pays to bring, like if you have ways of getting people into the lounge with like guest passes,
Yep.
like it's a really hard credit unless you're somebody who knows how to use that credit. Like it's not, especially like I have Delta, so I'm thinking about it through that lens. There are ways if you use United or other ones to do it, but it's not sort of a naturally occurring credit unless you think about it a little bit.
Plus, the quickest way to like kill that credit is if United's been recently changing their travel banks from like 5 years to one.
Yeah.
So if you're only allowed to put $300 a year and it expires every year, then you really have to use that credit from in the travel bank. So that is something to consider.
They could do one of the things that they do on the business platinum is it's 1.5 on certain categories or on 5x. They could either move it to 1,000 or do some key categories. So they could sort of limit it a little bit. I would just like 1.5 everything because I think they could do it on $1,000 platinum card in a way that wouldn't, like, yes, it would be more points, but I think you could get away with it.
Yeah, 1.5 base 1.5 on all spend on all purchases over $1,000.
Or just on all purchases, like 1.5
Yeah.
on everything. I think you could do that at $1,000 platinum and they're still making out because like Amex is one of the rare banks. Cap One is kind of about to be, but they still have to move everything to Delta or to Discover, right? Like that is a process they have to do. Amex doesn't have to do that process. They already have it done.
Yeah.
They get more of the swipe fee and their swipe fees are higher. So
Yeah.
I think they could do the 1.5 on the platinum. And they could also, like, if they do this move, they can make the platinum harder to get again and make it more of that luxury. I would love 2x base kit. I just don't see 2x base.
Don't be a coward. Give us 2x base. The other thing then, like if they move the platinum to 995 and they give the platinum 1.5x base, then my idea of Catalyst being the card between platinum and Centurion would kind of fizzle out, and it would make more sense for Catalyst to be like that starter card.
They do need a starter card. Like they can also do the graphite like with certain like the concierge and stuff. Like there are things on the Centurion. They could put an airline status on a card like that as well. Just give you Delta Silver or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, then I could see the charge card lineup being Catalyst, Graphite, Green, Platinum, Green, Gold, Platinum, Centurion.
Yeah. Even if they put something between Platinum and Centurion, I think I do honestly think Delta Silver is possible because you can get Delta Silver by holding 2 reserve cards.
Yeah.
So I could see them just being, or give you 5,000 NQD, right? Like do it where they're not giving you the status, but they're giving you the status.
Equivalence, yeah.
That sounds like that sounds like a Delta and Amex like wording of it. We're gonna give you 5,000 MQDs. And they're like, but that's Delta, so can you just not call it Delta? No, we're gonna call it 5,000 MQDs. Thanks. This means the same thing, friends.
Yes. We've got 30 people live watching us. Thank you so much, everyone, for that. Be sure to hit the like button down below if you like what we're doing. Keith asks a really interesting question here. How likely do you think one of Hotel or Airlines leaves Chase or Bank of America? And I'm assuming this is for co-branded cards for Capital One, because Capital One can pay more now that they have their own processing network. I think this is like the 6 to 10 year question for Capital One, like because they have to build this out further. Like the Discover network is very big in the United States, and it's relatively like they've got partnerships with Union Pay and another bank in China, so like they do have some availability in Japan and China, in Asia, but like Canada, the UK, mainland Europe, these are places that still don't have that particular payment processing network set up. So it's going to be tens and maybe even like hundreds of billions of dollars to get that network like set up in touristy Germany, touristy France, tourist Italy, tourist Greece, the Dalmatian
but once
coast.
you get it, it's gonna print money. Literally, it's gonna print money. You know what airline I think could be a really good partner for Cap One, which is a favorite of yours, Matt, is JetBlue. Because JetBlue plays in a lot of spaces, but they don't sort of have that, like they don't have a Delta Amex or a United Chase relationship, right? Like they don't have that sort of feeling. If they got a Cap One, like, and are like, we're in this, we're going to build this thing together, and they start building out their network as Cap One and Discover are building out theirs. Because JetBlue, correct me if I'm wrong, but JetBlue is not a huge international carrier. They're much more prevalent in the US.
U.S., Caribbean, U.S. and Latin America.
So basically, the
Um,
places that Discover is already kind of there, right? Like it is,
yeah,
especially in the US. So if you have them grow together, that would make a really good sort of, we want to take on the big boys. Because I think if in a world where they get sort of a legacy, right? If they get an American, they're not going to get American, but for a second, pretend they get American, right? Those are
yeah,
mismatched places. They're not sort of able to grow together because American is so much bigger and we'll get to call the shots. But if you do JetBlue and Cap One with this new network, they're able to sort of grow at the same way in a way that I think could be really interesting for them. And I think if they get JetBlue as sort of their quote major airline, American airline, American
yeah.
as in the country, not American as in American Airlines. But
They're
if they
major
get,
domestic.
yeah, they get them as their major domestic, I think we could see something really, really interesting from them in the next, 5 years. But I think they would need to get on that in the next 1 to 2 years and lock JetBlue down.
My only question is, does JetBlue have the runway to survive the next 2 to 3 years to sign that deal?
I think they do. I think I think JetBlue is, especially with how Southwest is going to be sold for parts. I think JetBlue is in that space the most likely, in my mind, to take over the market share Southwest has. Because we all know Southwest is going to be hacked apart and sold for parts, meaning somebody's going to get some of that. If it's not one of the legacy carriers getting their spots, I think JetBlue is in a good place to. I
Yeah,
think Amex is just different. Like, not necessarily for great reasons. They're just because of their partnership with Delta and how much Delta cards generate for them. I don't think they need to necessarily have what Visa and Mastercard do.
yeah. Um, Kid also mentioned you could see Wyndham and Sonesta moving over as well. And mentions that Barclays is slowly trying to get out of the travel co-branded space, which is definitely true. Like they do want to, they have mentioned that they want to get out of travel. It's just like a question, like their most valuable travel properties now with credit cards. None of the cruise lines, because those are all just dogs. Those cards are just dogs. But the JetBlue card still has some value. Funnily enough, I flew on JetBlue this week. Flew out of JFK. There is no signage in JFK about the Premier card. None.
If I go to
All
the
the
Barclays
signage.
website right now, the card that is on the front page is just the JetBlue card. It's not even the Premier.
That's hilarious. Um, the flights, like I asked one of the flight crew on the flight early this morning, like, hey, out of curiosity, because I know they do promotions for the JetBlue card on flight. Like, the flight attendants will get like a little kickback if they refer you to the car and you use like their application to get the card, and like sometimes the welcome offer can be a little bit different because it's JetBlue specific. Said he'd get back to me, never got back to me, which is fine. Like it's a 6 a.m. flight a 6 a.m. Central flight out of Chicago. Like I don't expect him to humor me that much, right?
Right.
But there's nothing on the app about the Premier card. There's nothing in the terminal, JetBlue's terminal, about the Premier card. JetBlue only has like one gate at Chicago, so that's fine. But like there is no indication that there is another card than the Plus card. And this
The
card
business and the
launched,
plus are the ones that they're pushing on the website
yeah,
because they're basically the same card.
which might be playing into the idea that they're going to pull and refresh and redo the Premier card.
I mean, it
I
would
like
make
that idea.
sense.
Yeah, because that card is terrible. But like their most, going back to Barclays, like best brands that they could sell for the highest profit, um, doesn't look like they're going to be able to sell the back book of the Hawaiian cards to Bank of America. That hasn't been announced, and we're too close. We're too far into that merger now for that to be the case. So I don't think that's happening. Um, the Emirates cards would be hugely valuable to sell the back book to sell off. That would be a bidding war between Chase, American Express, Capital One would have to get into that. and Wells would have to get into that as well. So Emirates would be number one.
You
Number
don't think the
two,
Xbox MasterCard is the card that everybody is going after, Matt?
they could give that card to every single Microsoft employee, and the Microsoft employees would still throw it out.
Yes. It is a cool, like, it's green. At least it's not blue.
It is a beautiful Xbox green, but gamers aren't even signing up for that credit card. I don't even know what credit card gamers use primarily. But that's the sort of co-brand that they're going to stick with going forward. Like getting out of the travel space and staying in like the store co-brand area, retail co-brand, like the Xbox card is the future, not what they're trying to get out of. So Emirates was number one. Lufthansa would be number two, and then it would be the JetBlue card as number three. Like, there's the Breeze card, but who cares? And the Hawaiian cards are all going to get turned into Barclays Arrival cards.
Yeah.
So
it's a sad, like, looking at the cards on Barclays right now, it's kind of sad.
Yeah. They launched the JetBlue Premier. The Breeze card is interesting-ish, but like not interesting enough to go
But
after.
then you have to fly Breeze.
The Breeze product isn't bad.
Matt, look at who you're talking to.
I know, you sit in first class all the time.
I do.
Also, kid, Sinesta is no longer with B of A. Those cards are no longer available for application, so Sinesta is going somewhere else, but where, we don't know. Maybe to Wells. I doubt it. And then we had the Amex is doing fine without a real international processing network, but they still do okay with the areas, and like you can use Amexes in traditional touristy places with no particularly painful experiences. Like go to the tourist spots in Paris, you're fine. Go between Paris and Aix-en-Provence, and there's not going to be a whole lot of Amex acceptability in the country, but like Paris will be fine, Aix-en-Provence will be fine, Marseille would be fine, Bordeaux would be fine, the Champagne region would be fine, Calais would be fine. I'm going to get out of France. Nice would be fine. Monaco would be fine.
I feel like Monaco, they just take gold bars. Like, that's the only way you can pay for things in Monaco is just take out a gold bar and just put it down on the counter, and they'll chip a little off and then give you the rest of the bar back.
Oh, I see. Sir is playing for the big stakes tonight.
Yeah. Or martinis. They will accept a James Bond martini as payment if needed.
All right. So yeah, $9.95 Amex Platinum. Interesting to think about. Like, I don't know what else they can do on there. They'll up some of the credits that they already have.
I also wonder, like, the 50th anniversary is not that far for the Platinum, and I think they want to save like a major refresh for that one, but I don't know what they can do as a half step. You know what I mean? Like, that's the problem, is maybe they do go to $8.95, but I don't think at $8.95 they're actually going to be able to change all that much. Take both of them, kid. Take both the gold and the saver and report back on how many times you can use the gold. I need this for science.
Kid, if you're going to restaurants, the gold would be fine. If you're primarily going to restaurants, both are fine. If you're going to do any sort of pop into a Tesco or any other grocery chain there, Marks and Spence or anything like that, you may want to have the saver as a backup, because you're going to get the points on the saver. You're not going to get the points on the gold. Just putting that out there. We didn't even go back to the Saber X, which is still a stupid card.
But here's the thing about the Saber X. Like, do I think it's a great card? No. But do I think at least it's Capital One trying something to make a mark And now, again, we don't know if this is real. And the market research could be, okay, this is terrible. Let's try this again, right? Like this was just a survey. But I will applaud Capital One for actually trying something and not doing a discover it for good credit.
Yeah. Kim mentioning he's already capped the grocery limit on one of his gold cards.
I'm waiting for you to get your third gold card. I want you to have them like Wolverine claws in your hands.
Do it on the pod. No, I think the Saber X is an interesting thought experiment for them. My problem with it doesn't stem from like it's not a particularly compelling card. It's they keep coming back to this lineup and like they're never happy with it because the original Saber was a no annual fee, 4x dining, 4x grocery, 4x dining, 4x entertainment, 3x grocery card. Then they did the same card with a $95 annual fee and brought out the Saber 1 as the no annual fee version that was 333. Then they got rid of the $95 annual fee card and just changed the Saber 1's name to Saver. And now they want to come back in over the top with another annual fee card that is 443. Like they keep trying to make this work. It's like hockey in the desert. Like they're trying to make this work as much as they can, and like.
I mean, the Las Vegas Golden Knights, didn't they win a Stanley Cup a couple of years ago?
They were propped up heavily by completely reconfiguring the rules for.
And again, did they not win a Stanley Cup?
They did. They won a Stanley Cup in their second year of existence, but like this would be more what is now the Utah Mammoth, not and like previously the Phoenix Coyotes. Like this is a card that they're putting together in Mallet Arena. This is not a card that they're putting together in like a serious form or fashion, it feels.
Is this the credit one of Capital One cards?
Maybe.
And I only say that because there's hockey teams that are sponsored by Credit One.
Yeah, including your Las Vegas Golden Knights.
They're not mine. I am tangentially a Bruins fan.
Fair.
Sort of. I watch hockey. I watch hockey as a casual person. I put it on and watch and then turn it off and don't think about hockey until the next time I put it on my TV.
Fair enough. I do enjoy watching the Islanders, but I don't get a whole lot of ability to watch TV when I want to watch TV. So there's that.
They just should copy the green card. Like more companies should just copy the green card.
Yeah, and the autograph.
Yes.
I think every company would be well suited to have a card that is 3x dining, 3x travel, 3x gas as a travel competent card.
Yeah.
Gas EV.
Yeah. I would like Amex to add EV to their gas category on the gold, business gold. I'm hoping when I cancel my current business gold, they'll let me upgrade the business green to a business gold so I can not feel shame every time I open my Amex wallet.
I would like to see Amex add gas to a customer card again. Bring that back.
I really think when they bring, like, they're gonna introduce new cards, I think one of them will have gas.
Probably. All right, so we'll start wrapping things up here. If there are any other questions, feel free to put those in now. RJ, was there anything else you wanted to talk about tonight?
I don't think so. I do. Here's the thing. I think we in the community, and this is not a shot at Matt, guys, I promise. But I think we in the community need to ask the question of who is this card for? And who is this card for with the changes before we have a reaction? Like if they made the platinum $1,000 and put nothing on there I could use and the math doesn't math, I would be sad. I would be potentially angry. But like if they're making it for somebody who's not me, I have to take that into account when I talk about it. So I think we need to take a moment before we go and just be upset and think about who the card's for. Yes, I'm sure you're hearing an echo. Matt took his headphones out, so you're hearing me in stereo. I apologize for that. But I do think we need to talk about who the cards are for, because sometimes people get very, very angry because the card is no longer for them, but it is for now somebody else. And if it's coherent of who that card is for, I think we kind of have to go with it. Now, we can be sad the card is not for us anymore. That is perfectly fine. But we have to have some context and be somewhat contextual. Do I think the CPR is going to be good for a lot of people in the general population? Sure. Do I think a lot of people are going to pay that? No, but I think that might be what she is looking for to cut some people, especially if they're doing the Lounge Network. So we'll see. Again, I think they know what Amex is going to do through some back channels and are preparing to counteract what Amex is going to do. Because if they're lower than Amex after Amex raises their annual fee, they'll still look better. So we'll see. We will see, Matt. And guess what? We're recording Monday, so maybe there'll be more news by then. And we get to have Kid on the podcast to talk about this, because I'm sure we'll get Tariq and Kid's thoughts on the podcast on Monday on these possible changes.
Yep, or just Kids. We'll see what ends up happening.
Oh yes, just Kids, because Tariq will not be with us, so it'll be you, me, and Kid.
Keith asks, why do all the Star Trek holodeck episodes suck?
The only holodeck episodes I like are occasionally a Captain Proton will not be terrible. Like, it won't be great, but it will be passable. It'll be able to be on while you're cooking dinner and you won't turn the TV off.
Yeah, from TNG, the Moriarty episodes are like, the first one was a little bit weak. That's Elementary, My Dear Data. Elementary, My Dear Data. And then they brought it back toward the end only because they knew it was the 7th season and they were wrapping on the 7th season. So they like brought back that character. It was really well played character. But they weren't particularly strong. Oh, Keith hates I think he just hates the holodeck episodes. Yes. I don't know if he hates the Captain Proton episodes in particular or the Moriarty episodes. I'm pretty sure, like, of the two, you would probably hate the Moriarty episodes more. There's like 1 or 2 DS9 episodes that happen on the holodeck. The only other TNG episode in a holodeck that is interesting to me is the one where Worf and his like foster brother are moving people because his foster brother broke the Prime Directive and is like actively moving people out of a storm that will effectively destroy their world, destroy their planet, and he's like saving the last vestiges of the civilization.
I have a hot take, Matt.
Yeah.
I think the Prime Directive is stupid. I think there are ways you can craft that rule to actually make it make sense without just having a Prime Directive in the way that the Prime Directive is written. Because if the Prime Directive can be broken as many times as the Prime Directive is broken for really good reasons throughout the show, I think the Prime Directive. I do think the Omega Directive is probably the stronger directive, even though 7 looking into the face of the perfect Omega particle is a very fun moment.
With the Prime Directive, I mean, Picard breaks it every chance Picard breaks it justifiably every chance he gets. There's a whole movie just destroying the Prime Directive with Insurrection.
Janeway breaks it. Janeway tries not to break it more than Picard tries not to break it, which is not what you would expect.
Yeah, but she's also operating in effectively the Wild West. So like that she's upholding it is interesting and like trying to
look.
And, like,
she's got so little to go on that the only thing she can fall back on is, well, I didn't break the Prime Directive. I broke all the other directives. Rules except for the Omega one. I will say Lower Decks has a couple of good holodeck episodes. But again, in the cartoon, like, because it's a cartoon, you can do a whole lot with the holodeck that you can't really do in the live action stuff.
Badgie
is great. They have a couple of like simulations where they're doing like training and stuff, or like just messing around on the holodeck that is very fun. Mariner just being like, I'm gonna do this thing, and like almost dies several times because apparently safety protocols aren't a thing on the Cerritos. Which Shaq's turning
Beckett
them off would make sense.
Beckett knows how to turn them off.
Oh, Beckett took her mother's codes and just like has things set to her preferences on alt decks.
Oh no, she knows which isolinear chip she just needs to pull out precisely and like just keep it like half out so it looks like it's in, but like that safety protocol is off. Yeah, no.
Actually, she probably took her father's codes because he's an admiral and nobody checks what the admirals do.
Yeah, he did. Admiral, shows your code was used at the Cerritos' last known location, but you've been here the whole time. How did that happen? Beckett?
Does the Prime Directive actually apply? I mean, it would.
That's like the big question I'm asking. Like,
but Janeway tries. Like, anyone point out is addressing Matt's criticism by making the reserve look worse in comparison. We did kind of touch on that.
I don't like that that's the framing, but I also love that that's the framing. By making the reserve look worse in comparison. If these rumors are true, I'm gonna have a much harder time justifying the Sapphire Reserve than the Sapphire Preferred. But my only saving grace on this is that the Sapphire Preferred will not stay at $95.
My topic the week that this moves is going to be, so Matt, when are you downgrading to the Sapphire Preferred? Let's have a therapy session about Matt having to have a Sapphire Preferred.
Oh, I really don't want to have that therapy session.
Looking so forward to it.
More likely would be like Lonnie being like, you know what, guys? I'm out.
I mean, yes, that is going to be his. But Lonnie doesn't need. I am in the ambassador program, and that is one of the ones I am looking at. I am seriously considering just flying to Washington to go to that one because it looks truly, truly great. So I am genuinely considering. I also have some friends in Seattle, so I could go see them.
This coming from Turek Buckris or other Turek. Glad to see you, man. It's been a while since I've seen you around. So thanks for joining the live. Thanks for checking us out. Thank you for watching the podcast. Definitely thanks for your continued support over there. So I think this. Yep.
One point, guys, I have been on semi-hiatus, so I promise you I will react and take any questions, comments that you've put on our videos. I will get to them, I promise. I haven't forgotten you. I just have had some things going on in my personal life, so I have not been reading the comments on the videos, but they will all be read, don't worry.
I've chimed in on a few, and if you've noticed that it's hyphenated Matt, then I've reacted to some, but I'm sure RJ will go back. Matt said he might downgrade to the CSP on the live. Yeah, let's see where all the chips fall.
Maybe next week we can do a therapy session of me and if I should downgrade to the $0 Sapphire or the OG Freedom.
I would say the $0 Sapphire, but you still can't. But you can't transfer out. But if you're not worried about transferring out, who cares?
I don't care about transferring out.
Then who cares? Go down the $0 Sapphire.
There's a $0 Sapphire. I really don't want the rotational categories on the other one, but we'll see.
Rotational categories are the devil. Now
I don't like them.
I will say this. I will put this out there. If Chase takes the Chase Freedom Flex and photocopies the US Bank Cash Plus card as an updated Chase Freedom Flex, I would downgrade the Sapphire Reserve to that updated Freedom Flex.
Yes, they're not going to do that, but yes.
I said if, and I qualified it multiple times. I know they're not going to do that. That just makes sense.
Yeah, no, I don't like holding a card that I'm not going to use, but I can't get rid of my 2 Chase cards yet, so I hold them in protest.
Yeah, you need some non-MX credit cards.
I have the Venture, I have the Choice card, I have the Apple card, and I have the 2 Chase cards. I have 5 non-Amex cards. I'm going to get the IHG card once I'm under 524. which is May 1st of 26. Because my plan is to keep the 2 other chase cards open long enough to get the IHG card, move the limit, and then downgrade them and never think about them again.
That's fair. That would be,
or downgrade the CSP and never think about it again.
Yep. All right, so we're gonna call it there. It's been about an hour. We're coming up on 2 hours, but we're good there. Check us out. We're gonna be recording on Monday. Kid will be back on the show this week. It's just going to be the 3 of us, it looks like. So it's going to be a fun time there. We'll be back next week on the live. If you like what we do, hit the like and subscribe button. Check us out on Mondays and Fridays here on YouTube. Oh, there you go.
Nice. Thank you very much.
You want to screen cap that for yourself? Yeah, check us out on the show is dropped on Wednesdays and Fridays. If you have questions for the podcast, drop them on the Friday show or join the Stack Your Points Discord. That link is always in the descriptions. We'll update the description at some point to reflect that. Check us out over there. You can check out RJ's channel at Do You Take Cards. You can check out Lonnie's channel at Call Me Lonnie. You can check out my channel at Matt Clausen. We'll talk about the 4th channel when the 4th channel officially launches. And what's more likely to happen, this update to the CSR or the 4th channel launching? Probably the update to the CSR. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, we appreciate you guys taking the time. We love doing this here on Thursday nights. We will see you guys next Thursday live, but we will see you before that on Stack Your Points. So thanks, everyone. Talk to you soon.